Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. And as always, thank you for all your support, including sharing, chatting, liking, and subscribing. Now roll that famous logo animation! Good evening, and welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Justin D. Morgan, and this is Computerized Start Live. It looks like I have Thomas Armstrong, Joe's Computer Museum, and Trina's Technobabble in the chat. Hello, everybody. And I have a machine. It's just a lowly little Japanese computer, and all I want to do is play this game. Of course, maybe I should go to the table cam so you can see it better. But yes, I want to play this game right here. Exciting baseball. I have no idea if it's exciting. All I can tell you is that it does appear to be a baseball game, and it is in Japanese. And I don't know Japanese. Can't read it, can't speak it. So this will be fun. Hey, Jeremy, welcome. All I do know is that to play this game, you would either, I guess, need an emulator with the MSX Kanji ROMs, or an actual Japanese MSX computer. And this computer came all the way from Japan, although by the time I bought it, it was already imported into the United States. For some reason, I think my camera's falling down. It is truncating my hat, which is not cool. There we go. That's a little better. I mean, it's my signature cap. I wouldn't want it to be cut off, but at least I haven't managed to knock the camera sideways yet. Yay. There's that going for me. So this is my National CF2000. It's a computer that I bought off eBay after buying this game and finding out this game will not play in a US market MSX computer. If you try, you get what looks like a basic error when you try to run it. And yes, I find it odd that that cartridge might have a basic program in it, but, well, weirder things have happened. And because this is a Japanese computer, I do use this transformer here to run it. But there's no sense for me to plug it in right away, because if I plugged it in and turned it on, nothing's going to happen. The power LED won't turn on, and there's no video signal. Oh, I got the game off eBay. I got this computer off eBay. eBay's about where I buy everything. And in fact, this game I bought it from a US seller. So when I bought this game, it had already been imported in the US. I bought this Japanese MSX computer from a US seller, so it had already been imported into the US then. Because I bought this cartridge because I thought, oh, exciting baseball. I wonder if it's actually exciting. Tried to play it in my Yamaha CX5M, and it won't play. So this is actually, I believe, the only... Okay, this is one of two foreign market computers that I own. Not including worldwide computers that might have come from foreign countries, but were otherwise there was no distinction between the US and foreign version. But this computer is from Japan, You might see on the keys there are what I believe are the kanji characters. I believe it's kanji. Could be katakana. Don't know. Since I don't know Japanese, I can't tell the difference. But anyways, I guess if you're wondering, the other foreign market computer I do own a Yamaha CX5M2, which is another MSX computer, and it's actually the Canadian market version. So really, no big deal. I can just plug it in and use it. The only real difference is I think it's got a Canadian approval sticker on the bottom of it. Yes, MSX is an interesting rabbit hole. I think it's basically Microsoft's last attempt to make money off of Microsoft Basic. Because MSX is a standard that didn't really take off in the US, but it was designed by Microsoft and ASCII Corp. And ASCII Corp is the Japanese subsidiary of Microsoft. So yes, I own a Canadian computer. Unfortunately, it's got a broken key on it. The stem broke off. I'm bummed. As unfortunately, I don't think I can... I've got some parts CX5Ms, but I think the CX5M2 keyboard's different, so I don't think I can swap the keys. Although, maybe I can. Looks like all of them have a graph key. Anyways, I have actually already opened this computer to create the thumbnail, so all you missed was me removing 6 screws from the bottom to be able to remove the top. I unplugged the LED, and then I've unplugged the keyboard cable. And that is only because I was creating the thumbnail on Joe's stream and wanted to just create the thumbnail once and be done with it. Because a lot of times, if I've got a computer I haven't opened before, I use a generic stock image for the circuit board you see in the background, and then I have to come back and update it later with an actual photo of the motherboard or some other circuit board in the computer that looks interesting. But in this case, I was like, I just want to create this thumbnail once and be done with it. So that's why it's open. But as far as I've disassembled it is just so I could see the motherboard and take a picture of it. So if anyone's wondering, here's a closer view of the keyboard. It looks like there is some rust on the metal backplate. I am actually, for what was a low-cost computer, this does seem to be a decent keyboard. However, it's nothing to... Actually, you know, maybe this one's actually better than my... Maybe this is actually something that's slightly nice. This keyboard feels better than my Yamaha's. Anyways, it connects with one of these silly ribbon cables. So looking at the circuit board, not surprisingly, National made this, or at least it's got National brands on it. So it looks like they might have done this in-house. So that's the keyboard. ZX Spectrum Soviet clones. I don't know if that's a rabbit hole I'm necessarily interested in. But it could very well be interesting, because some of those clones are interesting. I think first I want to kind of maybe get some of my disassembled computers fixed. I don't know what the construction of that keyboard is, Jeremy. Would require me to disassemble it, and since the keyboard seems to be working, I don't really want to disassemble it. I mean, I can pull a keycap off and see if it looks like it's got a key switch. Most of these are, at least, a lot of the MSX computers have like really awful keyboards. This one actually feels somewhat decent. So, I'm going to pull the G key for good. And I don't know if you can recognize that, but that actually looks like a key switch. I mean, I don't know what it is, but yeah. I mean, that kind of, although I guess the other thing is, though, it might actually be like carbon pad construction, because even though that looks like a key switch, I don't see, they're not, they don't appear to be soldered here, so it probably is carbon pad. But this keyboard seems to be working, so I really don't want to disassemble it. Yeah, so they're probably not key switches. It probably is carbon contact PCB construction. I would point out, Jeremy, if you were thinking of cloning keyboards for MSX computers, there's a lot of them. I don't think different manufacturers use different keyboards. So yeah, it looks a lot like the C64 style. It wouldn't surprise me if that's what it is. But yeah, there's a lot of MSX computers, and it's not like there was one keyboard that they all used. They all used their own keyboards. So anyways, I guess to kind of walk you through what's on this computer, for anyone that's not seen an MSX computer. So starting off, we have a Z80 processor, or for those of you in Canada, the UK, or other Commonwealth realms, Z80. We have an AY38910 sound chip. This one's actually from General Instruments. Got an NEC 8255. I believe this is like the some sort of I/O chip. There's looks like a Hitachi. Okay, this is a ROM. It's a 23256 ROM, I believe. There's a bunch of 74LS logic chips, and the interesting thing is, but not surprisingly, these are all National branded chips. And we've got a bank of NEC, there are 4116s, and another bank of 4116s. I believe this is going to be the system RAM here, looking at where some of these traces seem to be going. This is probably going to be the video RAM, because this is a Texas Instruments TMS 9918A. So just like so this is the same graphics chip the TI-99 and 4A used. In fact, one of my previous streams, or it might have actually been on Trina's or Dave's or someone else's channel, I actually removed this chip from another MSX computer, my parts computer, and put it in a TI-99 4A. It's the same chip. In the TI-99 4A, that was good. Given how late MSX came out, it's kind of long in the tooth at that point. I mean, still, it does give some interesting graphics. But yeah, the sound chip, Z80 processor, the Texas Instruments graphics. I mean, overall, I mean, it's a nice computer, but unfortunately, one thing for it is how late it came out and what else was on the market at the time, which is why I believe, especially in the US and Europe, and probably Canada too, MSX didn't really do so well. In fact, in the US, there were only two companies that even sold MSX computers, and that would have been Yamaha and Spectra Video. And Spectra Videos wasn't on the market very long. Yamaha's actually stayed at least in the US market for a couple years. But I think that's primarily because they sold cartridges for it that you could use to program your Yamaha synthesizers because of how complex they were to create FM sounds for. I think that's how the Yamaha ones stayed on the market as long as they did, is because of that feature. Anyways, and then, of course, we got this lovely power supply here. And as far as I can tell, this is being for the Japan. This is a 100 volt transformer, which is why I use this transformer. It might be interesting someday to actually maybe make this a little more universal so it's a little easier to use here. I could probably plug it into 100, the wall outlet here, but that means it would just run hotter and could burn something out. But, so anyways, I did notice before plugging it in and trying to use this the other day, I was trying to test a monitor, that the cord has come separated from the strain relief grommet, but it doesn't appear like it's broken, although I certainly don't like that. That's just not cool. I'm probably going to have to replace this power cord at some point. But at least if I can get this up and running. And looking at this, one of the first things I noticed was this little bit here. That shouldn't be loose in the case. And that is a couple strands of copper wire that are tinned. So that's probably my first clue as to what I need to look for to figure out what's going on. Hi, Dave. Welcome. So, unfortunately, that probably narrows down where the problem could be, because there's only so many places where there's tinned copper wires. And oh, I have zoomed in so far, you can't see it. Well, Jeremy, I will look into that. The one requirement I would have if I do replace this power supply is it has to fit in the case. And it has to output the correct voltages, which I don't know what they are right offhand, because the circuits board is, surprise, surprise, the circuit board's marked in Japanese. Oh, except for right there. Apparently there's negative 5 volts right there. But it looks like the rest of the voltage rails. Oh, wait. No, that's not a -5. It's 5 volts. So that's apparently 5 volts there. But the markings beside this here is all in Japanese. So I don't know what those should be right offhand. But yeah. Yes, I said MSX. Yeah. Yes. So right now I am, for those of you just joining, got Ken and Josh and Ian. Welcome. I was looking for the source of this because this computer won't power up, and I found this floating in the case. And I think what I was zoomed in for is this right here. Looks like that might have come off there, but you know, that still looks connected, so I'm going to pull out my multimeter. And I'm also going to thank RetroTechie for his total generosity in contributing the Macintosh 128K for my giveaway stream that I didn't know I'm having. Hi, RetroTechie. Uh, oh, Retro Techie, I wish I had a Macintosh 128K to give away, but considering my next giveaway would be at 256 subscribers, that doesn't fit the theme. And actually, I almost had something to give away, and Spindler Plastics happened, so... Because I actually had thought of a cool thing to give away. Of course, it didn't really fit the theme either. Yeah. Retro Techie. Well, okay, looks like I won't be getting a Macintosh 128K anytime soon. But anyways, I have my not Kaiweeds multimeter because I've owned this for a while. Now Josh has something that might actually be closer to something I could actually give away, because I have one that I've repaired. Joe. Oh, all right. So let's see if I can figure out if we have any connection here. Yeah, this is the time when I wish I had a way of showing the comments on the screen. So anyways, basically what I'm just going to do is I'm going to try to see if I have continuity. So first, I have one side of the plug, and I'm going to okay, that's good. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. That's good. So you're probably wondering why the multimeter beeped when I touched both on each side of the cord, and that's because this multimeter, I don't know what its beep threshold is, but you'll notice one side it beeped at 0 ohms. So this is where those two are directly connected to, and then 11.2 ohms. So this is going to be the other side, on the other side of the transformer. So anyways, that's why you heard a beep on both sides. Apparently 11 ohms is small enough for it to beep that there is continuity. So it does look like this power cord is connected to the power supply board, even though I found loose loose wire strands. So I guess now probably should see if let's see here. Actually, probably should just go ahead and plug this in and voltage in caps can trick a multimeter. Yes, this computer has been sitting unplugged for several days, so it should have no voltage. Should. Of course, yeah, it still could. Oh. A dead spider decided to photobomb, decided to photobomb this live stream. I have taken care of the problem. I saw this thing floating above the logic board, and I was thinking, wait a minute, I haven't plugged it in yet. Why is there something that looks like a little wisp of smoke? I believe this is a linear power supply, Josh. Let's take a look at this before I plug it in. Let me turn this so I can actually maybe read the components. So, all right. So it looks like, hush, multimeter. I have a stainless steel workbench, so my stainless steel workbench top is conductive. So, all right. So it looks like this power supply, we've got the AC incoming, which I may have to pull the board out to actually confirm. But I suspect we have AC incoming that comes into this board. And then here's the power switch that's probably switching the hot. So that comes in and back. Or I presume it's switching the hot. So here's one of the transformer legs here. And I suspect that is going to be after this. Let's see, there's the, I think that's the bridge rectifier. So there's a couple, what looks like some, these are capacitors. That's a capacitor. There's a fuse. There's a fuse in this power supply. Better check that. .6 ohms. Okay, so the fuse is good. All right, so there's some circuitry here. The main thing is it does look like this is that's a 7812 there. That is I can't read it. And I'm kind of wondering if this isn't like a 7805. So yeah, it looks like that's yeah, it does look like a linear supply. Yeah. It really does look like a linear power supply. AN7812R. It's got 4 legs instead of 3, though, which is kind of odd. Although maybe it does positive and negative 12 volts, maybe? I think I'm about to take this power supply out to just take a better look at it. Okay, so Jeremy's telling me this oh, yeah, 14 volts output. Yeah, 100 volts in, 14 volts out, 27.1 volt amps. Yep. Actually, the interesting thing is, Jeremy, though, is even though that says 14 volts, here are 2 wires that are marked transformer 12 volts, although maybe that's actually 14 volts. But then here's 2 wires that say transformer 5 volts. And those 4 wires are coming from the transformer. Of course, it might still be 14 volts because it's a linear. It looks like a linear power supply, but I'm going to have to take this board out because I thought at one point I thought that I was going to find that the whole problem was the well, these wires had come loose. All right, so first I'm just trying to see how this power supply is being held in because I'd kind of like to remove the entire power supply as one assembly so I don't have to desolder the transformer. So I think in order to remove this, yeah, that's really interesting. It has separate taps. That's odd. But then again, given how cheaply some of the MSXs were made, I guess it doesn't really strike me as completely odd that they would use a transformer like that. That kind of does seem like that would cost more than a single winding and just a different power supply design. But then again, maybe they got a really good deal on them. I don't know. All right. All right, I guess while I remove some screws to get this power supply out so we can take a look at it, be sure to smash that like button. And if you're not subscribed, well, now's as good a time as any, because if you're not a subscriber, you might miss my next video or live stream, because I have like 5 scripted videos in the pipeline that have all stalled out for some reason or another. And yet, I'm still buying junk for videos because I have a new toy on my desk upstairs that is going to require more parts than I initially anticipated, thanks to Spindler Plastic. Oops, I think I just gave away what it might be partially. It might even be the computer that I ordered from a foreign market, just because I don't normally look for computers overseas, but given weird pricing... Oh, thank you, Retro Techie. Given the weird pricing of computers, it was cheaper for me to buy this computer as is for parts from another country than it was to buy it from the US. Of course, it had still been as is for parts. That part wouldn't have changed. Well, not necessarily. I did find a couple... It's a piece of tape. Oh, there's still something holding that in. Oh, I bet these two screws are holding it in. Just watch, I'll remove these screws and we'll hear the plink of a nut. Or not. But yeah, we'll just say the plastic of the case. Now, Retro Techie. You complain that people don't invite you on the stream. That's not the way to win invitations onto streams. Yes. And when I'm not streaming on my channel, I'll go ahead and plug some of the other channels you can sometimes find me on as a guest. Joe's Computer Museum, Dave's Vintage Apple Tech, and even occasionally Trina's Technobabble when my schedule lines up. So go check all those channels out and subscribe to them. because you might catch me there too. And also, while I try to figure out where the mystery screw is that I have yet to find, I will also briefly plug that I have set a new coffee goal. And this month I thought I'd start small, and I just want a pizza. That's my goal. A pizza. Because I couldn't think of anything else. The only thing I could think of was, Trina's streaming tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. EST. We'll see if my schedule lines up, Trina. If I manage, I've got some housework I'd like to try to do this weekend, but I might just say forget about it and do other things. Which, if I do that, I will probably be able to join you, Trina. If I actually convince myself that I really do need to do the housework that I really do need to do, then, well, I'll probably be doing that housework. Because if I don't do it this weekend, I won't be able to do it until March. Probably. Oh yeah, that's right. I got sidetracked. I wanted to remove the power supply to try to examine it better, and well, I can't get the thing apart. Well, the only thing is, Jeremy, I can check for shorts between the rails on the board, but it would help if I could remove I need to get the motherboard out because I can't read Japanese. So I don't know, without being able to read Japanese, I don't know which is supposed to be the ground planes. So I will probably, I suspect there's potentially more than one ground, and unfortunately I don't know which one it is without at least being able to get the motherboard out, which feels like it's okay. Actually, I think the motherboard will all right, the motherboard will probably come out. I think it's just trying to figure out how to free it from the ports. There we go. Because all I really need to see on this is see if I can figure out. Okay. So these two pins here appear to be ground. The two that have a via going up to the other side of the board. So there we go. Sorry, Jeremy, you were too late in that suggestion. I got the board out. Yes, I could have tried to find an electrolytic, but then again, I still would have possibly needed to turn the board. Actually, maybe I could have gotten to a negative leg. Okay, well, I'll show folks both ways. So what I'm going to do here is just check to see. Okay. Let me turn on beep beep mode. So these two are ground. All right, and they are connected. Now these other four voltage rails should not be connected to ground, and they are not. Okay. I guess, yes, the thing Jeremy was telling me that I could have done is I could have gone to one of these electrolytic capacitors, and if I could find one, which at this vantage point, I could have gone to the negative side of one of them and then done this. And there we go. That is one of the grounds. And there's the other ground. Okay, but there are no shorts. I guess the screw holes are ground too. You're right, Jeremy. Hey, when you're actually live streaming, you miss small details like that. Because all you're thinking is the chat is going and I can't keep up. Oh no. Well, it looks like I bent the video jack. Okay. Doesn't look like I ripped anything, but I'm going to have to probably resolder it in because I kind of bent it a little. All right. Of course, could that be the whole reason I didn't have video? But the power LED didn't turn on. Well, I didn't have video. Power LED didn't turn on. But let me go to diode test. Is it possible that the diode is burned out? Let me see here. Where's the... Oh. Okay. And that is not the diode. Or the LED. That's actually the two switches on the cartridge slots that prevent the computer from turning on if a cartridge is... Ah. No, those switches control... There's a switch in the cartridge slot, and those... I think they close if a cartridge is inserted, and that there's some odd... there's something odd about the way the cartridges work. I think that... oh, that's right. Okay. So I think on the MSX cartridge, so those switches will close or possibly open. They may actually be, or something. But they were then. There's two pins on the cartridge slot somewhere that are actually that on the cartridge they're connected together. And I think if the switch is depressed in the cartridge slot, then the cartridge has to be in to connect those two pins before the system will power up. I think that's what those switches do. But I thought the LED was on that cable. It's not. Yet I am not crazy in thinking that there is a spot for an LED on this computer. And yet, so the LED is kind of in this area here of the computer. Jeremy, you're going to have to elaborate. Could this system act like the Atari 400 if the cartridge door is open? Act like the Atari 400 how? Oh. Okay, I know what you mean. Yeah, I think that's kind of basically well, it's partially that. So yeah, except that if this is closed, the system can power up. If this is like this, but the cartridge isn't fully inserted, it cannot power up until the cartridge is inserted. I think it's basically even though you're supposed to insert the cartridge when it's powered off, I think it's basically a something to try to protect the computer if you're doing something dumb. You know, there is a power LED, supposed to be a power LED, but I do not see a power LED. Could that be the whole problem? Does the video jack need reflowed? And the fact that I didn't get a power LED is because there is not one. There, nowhere. I don't even see where it would go. That is weird. There is a spot on the case for one, but there is nowhere where the LED plugs into. And there is no LED in here. I mean, I don't... That is weird. Use a hammer, make sure the cartridge is full in. Actually, I was trying to just test this without a cartridge. Because Sunday when I did this, I needed a video signal. That is just... Okay. There is no LED on this computer. There is no LED. Well, that's embarrassing. You know... Alright, so I know I need to reflow this video connector because it's... doesn't feel right. But I don't need to reflow it to... I don't need to reflow it to try a test. Did I pick this computer for repair only to find out that the problem was something other than this computer? Well, maybe. Will I do that again? Probably. Not intentionally. I thought there really was something wrong with this computer. And maybe there still is. LEDs are, Joe says, LEDs are overrated, especially when you put in a resistor with too low a value. That does, I'm not sure who has done that on their channel before. Maybe in conjunction with the 4th of July. Don't know. Got me. Not sure who did that. And actually, maybe they weren't LEDs. They might have been capacitors. All right, let me try to get some power here, and we'll see what this computer is and is not doing. Just as soon as I figure out where there we go. Where I put the transformer. All right. And let me grab the power cable and plug it in. All right. And I'll plug let me plug the video cable in if I can figure out. Wait a minute. Oh, that's right. I think that's the one that I plugged into the scaler. Let me double check what the video cable I plugged into the scaler, because normally I plug the green cable in. But this time I plugged the left audio jack in for video. All right. So first, I'm just going to power this up, or attempt to power it up with without the motherboard plugged in. I just want to try to check voltages. Well, Jeremy, the thing is, if I don't need an LED, I just thought the system had an LED, and that. Oh. Word to the wise. If you're going to check AC voltage, turn your multimeter to AC voltage. All right, so I have 106 volts at the AC input, which does seem a bit high, but then again, maybe it's not. Okay. And let me see here. And then this, I believe, this is marked transformer 12 volts. And that is not, that's going to be AC. And that is currently 16 volts AC. Okay, which is probably fine because there's no load. And then this 5 volts, this marked transformer 5 volts is reading 7.5 volts AC. Okay. That's probably fine. There's no load. And let me see here. Oh. And then let me go to DC. That's 8 volts DC. 0.6 volts DC. 21 volts DC. That doesn't seem right. 9.5 volts DC. 236 millivolt. Okay. 9 volts. I can't read what that chip. That's good solid 9 volts DC. That's 9 volts DC. That's 231 millivolts. Oh. Okay, that's reading 6 millivolts. There's a smudge on my 0.66 volts. 0. 21 volts DC. 21 volts DC. Oh, that must be the DC input. Caps. Yeah, I'm wondering if there's a cap, but I haven't been able to get the power supply out to check them, Dave. Okay, that must be DC input. There's nothing on the out 12. You know, I bet there's no 12 volts on this power supply. I think the 12 volt I think the problem might be the 12 volt regulator's gone. Okay. Let me check what's on the plug. Let's see. 1, 2. So, okay, so this one should be ground. Okay, so that's nothing. So that's 3.5 volts. That's nothing. That's nothing. That might have been the ground. And that's negative 12 volts. So I've got negative 12 volts. 0. Oh, that's the other ground, I think. 0, 3.5 volts, and 0. Yeah, Jeremy, that doesn't seem correct at all. That shouldn't, 3.5 volts. Should be, I think, 5, -5, 12, and -12. Yeah, because I think the TMS 9918 is going to have -12 going to it. And some of these RAM chips will have -5. So I should have, yeah, 5, -5, 12, and -12. And the only one I have is -12. So either there's something on the motherboard that prevents the power supply from powering up unless I plug the motherboard in, which is possible. It is very possible, because I do know there is a relay on the board, and I know there is some chance that someone might have reworked this board before. That looks ugly. That might be factory rework. I don't know. Well, I guess I can plug the board in, because the thing is, I've already powered it up in this state once. So if I was going to blow anything up because I didn't have all the correct voltage rails, I've already done it. I don't know if there's a schematic for this computer. Furthermore, if there is a schematic for this computer, I don't know if I could read it. You're welcome to look. It's a National CF2000. I actually haven't looked for schematics. I actually wasn't sure I would need them even. Okay, so I have turned the computer on. So I'm going to check voltages here again. So I have -400 millivolts. Okay, that's 3.5 volts. I don't have a very good connection there. Okay, that was ground. That one's going to be ground. 0.65 volts and -12 volts. Yeah. There are multiple regulators out. Okay. I guess let me see if I can find a schematic to confirm those pins are correct. But the thing is, given what I was just reading there, 2 of those voltage rails are definitely not right. The third one is low, and the fourth one is correct. Oh, cool. If you search DuckDuckGo for National CF2000 schematic, guess what? My video is the 7th search result. Okay, it's the 7th search result if you don't put the hyphen that sometimes appears in the model number. No, it does not appear to have schematics. Yeah, no schematics. Okay. we're going to have to wing this. I'm going to have to get the power supply out so that I can attempt to identify the regulators. I do have some linear regulators. However, they're all 3-pin regulators. Because I've got 5 volt, I've got negative 5 volt, and I have 12 volt regulators. I think I even have some other more odd regulators than that. So, yep, there we go. I got 5 volts, I got 12 volts, and I have a JCM-1.com keyboard encoder for an Apple II. I got more 5 volt. Yeah, I've got 15 volt, I've got 10 volt, I've got 8 volt, and somewhere I do have some negative 5 volt. There we go. Which, luckily, I possibly have what? Oh, the 5th result. Okay. I might have miscounted. I do sometimes miscount while I'm live streaming. All right. Or maybe it moved up when I did that search. Yeah. Yes, if you do have an Apple computer that needs a replacement keyboard encoder, Joe is your source. Just don't outsmart yourself and use a rounded pin IC socket to replace a bad socket. Joe designed the encoders to fit in the standard single and double wipe sockets like you normally find in the Apple II computers. Which makes sense. Because most of the time, the encoder's bad and the socket's fine. And you'll get away with being able to just remove it and insert a new one. In my case, there was no socket, and I outsmarted myself and put in a rounded pin one because that's what I had. But the cool thing is, you can, Joe will, for a small additional charge, Joe will include a socket. So if you order an encoder, your computer doesn't have a socket, you can just check the box and add a socket, and you'll get a compatible one. I don't remember what Joe charges, but it's certainly cheaper than ordering one from a distributor and paying a separate shipping fee. And you know, the way they routed this power cord through here, they do not want you to... They really do not want you to remove this power cord. I think I'm going to have to desolder these 2 wires, because I can't remove the power cord from the case because this grommet has been glued. All right, well, it is warm up the soldering iron time. Also, where did my good solder wick go? Oh, that's right. All right, I'm just going to... These 2 wires are going to be a pain to resolder. Maybe I should just clip these wires to splice them. I know what I'll do. I will, desolder them anyways. All right. If I can reach in here. Because if I can't desolder them and I clip them, then I'm going to want to go get some spade connectors. So that if I have to remove this again, I just have to... no, I don't... I don't think that's going to work. Nope. Nope, that transformer is too close to do that. All right. I am... Yeah, that's too... Is there not any room at all? No. Time for clarity. I don't know that... Here's the problem. I can't get my soldering iron into there without touching plastic. Well, that might help a little as long as that transformer doesn't fall. But the thing is, I got like 4 wires to outmaneuver. There's no room to get the desoldering gun in here. And yes, if anyone was wondering, that wire was getting warm. Okay. Well, I got that one out. Okay, let me see if I can... Ooh, this one's going to be trickier. Yeah, resoldering these may be very tricky. There we go. I will have to probably rewatch my own live stream to remember how to put those back. All right, Ken. Glad you could join for a little while. See you next time. Okay, so I at least got those free. So now... Oh, all right. I'm going to have to get the... disconnect the ground from the logic board. That is simply connected with this really gigantic, huge ball of solder. All right. Disconnect this. Oh, there we go. Okay, and now hopefully I will be able to lift the rest of this out almost. Except the switch wires. Oh, what is holding this metal backplate in? Actually, it looks like nothing. Let me see if I can get this metal backplate out, because that's where the switch is connected. Oh, here we go. No, that is just... Wait a minute. Oh, okay. Hold, please, while I get this... Actually, I'm not going to be able to remove that. That's... All right. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Almost. Oh, caught up on the power cord. There we go. All right. All right, now as I am continually knocking things off my workbench. All right, so there's the power supply. Screws in from no, there were the screws holding the power switch in are not accessible while the back plate's in the case, and no, it was, this plate was clipped under plastic. That's why I was having trouble getting it out. I had all the screws out. Yeah, you can't remove these two screws while it's in the case. And there was a plastic clip here that was holding things in, and it was caught up on the power cord. Because obviously they assembled this and never intended for you to disassemble it. Because that grommet was glued in, probably as the last manufacturing step. All right, and I think this is going to be one of the linear regulators, and I don't know which one it is because I can't get this plastic off of it because this plastic is glued to it. I mean, seriously, I don't think I could make that up if I tried. I think that is glue. Yeah, I think that is glue. Of course, it may also be like heat shrink. It might also be a goner. Well, I guess I'll put the replacement heat shrink around the replacement component if I see a need for it. I suspect that's there for probably compliance with some standard, even though there's really nothing that could short up against. Yeah, but that was glued and heat shrinked onto that component. So that is the $79.12. Oh, that's the one. That's the one that was actually working. So that's the negative 12 volt regulator. So that's the one that was working. So don't want to do anything to that. So this is the I do not see a part number on this one. It's because it says 89. No, it says B983 3L. I can't read it. It doesn't. Well, I'm about to get out the shaky microscope. All right. Warning. You get seasick. B983 3L. B983 3L. And then this other one is an AN7812R. Oh, yeah. Well, you are correct. It does say ECB on the PCB. So 12. So I see 12 and negative 12 regulators. So if I'm reading that part number right, I think that is the 12-volt regulator, AN7812R. Okay, so the green thing is a transistor. I mean, it's not a slam dunk that it's working. Okay, let me see what else there is, because the one thing I'm not seeing is a 5-volt regulation. So that's a transistor, linear regulator, diode bridge. Well, actually, okay, I had one thought. Is the 5-volt regulation on here maybe? I don't think so. Unless a PC311C. No, I don't think that's a... Okay. I don't see anything that looks like a linear regulator there. Oh, hi, Rudy. Just trying to figure out where the 5 volts is coming from on this power supply. Because I think there's 4 voltage rails, and I only see 2 of them. And unfortunately, without a schematic, unless this is, EN7812B. Okay, let me look that part up. It has 4 pins and not 3. Maybe that's actually... doing both? There are no regulators on the heatsink. Oh, this heatsink. That's a transistor. That's a regulator. I'm not getting... this doesn't seem to... Oh, yes, okay, that is a silicon complementary transistor, high current switching, silicon power transistor. NPN. That's what that green component is. I cannot read that data sheet. I hope I don't need to replace that, because I cannot read that data sheet to know if I'd have the correct replacement part. Oh, it's a PNP transistor. Okay, B983. Just B980. Okay. I need the 7812B data sheet. Okay, I do not like these datasheet websites that have a link to what you search for and then take you to a page that says, we don't have that datasheet, but here's a bunch that might be it but aren't. Okay, so that's the 7812 datasheet. There's a 7812 manual on Lowe's website. That's definitely not it. It's a B. B as in Baker. I don't know, Rudy. That resistor does kind of look a little toasty, but I'll have to try to check it. I'm really suspecting the linear regulator though, because it didn't seem to have what I would call sane voltages on it. But I need a data sheet for it because I think it's not. I think it's a different AMC. Oh, here we go. That's probably similar enough. Oh. When you live stream, you misread things. I guess that is an R. Well, maybe that's why I was having a really bad time of finding a data sheet. Oh, here we go. Found a data sheet right away. 3, that's not the right data sheet. That doesn't have the same number of pins. 3-terminal positive fixed voltage regulator. Well, that's not it. 78. Because it has 4 terminals. Okay, so AN7812R. All right, let me try. Well, actually, let me go back to that view so I can put that down so I can actually type. All right, AN7812R. AN7812R datasheet. There we go. Positive output voltage regulators with reset pin. Okay. With reset pin. Ah, reset pin. I found the data sheet. Oh, that's what that transistor's doing. It's soft power on circuit. So that's 12 volts. Don't know what that resistor is supposed to be, but Rudy was wondering if it was actually still a resistor. The writing is unfortunately at an angle I can't read it. It's reading as 120 ohms, which, given the fact that it appears to be connected to the base of this transistor, that might actually be correct. I suspect that is supposed to be a 120 ohm resistor, because it is going to the base of that transistor. Okay. So, let me see if I can Because quite honestly, I thought the power supply should have 5 and 12 volts. I'm trying to figure out. Let me, okay. So, according to this pin, so this is the voltage regulator. And, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I looked at the wrong. Oh, okay. The reset pin of this linear regulator is actually connected to a transistor here. So I had the wrong transistor. But anyways, so here, this should be the output, 12 volts output here. And that goes to the wait a minute, that doesn't seem right. Input, ground, okay, so okay, maybe that is right. So it goes to the green wire here on the power plug. So the green should be 12 volts. And so this is okay, yeah, purple. So this purple one here, that is where I was reading negative 12 volts, right here. This is the negative 12 regulator, so that's correct. This blue wire is connected to what I think is going to be the input pin of the negative 12 volt regulator. And is connected to, I think, this capacitor here. But bear with me. I could be wrong on that. I just want to see where it's getting power. Okay, and I think this might be a diode. And oh, transistor 12 volts. So this blue wire, it actually looks like the blue wire on this power plug is coming straight off the transformer. So that's going to be AC. Okay, that may be why I didn't measure any voltage. Okay. Hey, Retro Techer Die. Welcome. I'm trying to figure out mysteries. Okay, so the purple wire was negative 12. Oh, I think that might actually be a ground wire. Okay. That was a ground. I must have the oh yeah, okay. That's probably true. That's a negative regulator. Wrong pin. That's a ground. This is actually the input for that negative regulator. Okay. So that's one of the ground pins. This one, the green, okay, green wire is 12 volts. That's negative 12 volts. So now I'm trying to figure out the rest. Okay, this is the other ground pin here. So where's this other voltage coming from? So this pin here is connected to I believe is connected to a transistor. and is also connected to a resistor. And another transistor. Well, that doesn't. Okay, I'm not sure what that is. That looks like some sort of signal. Maybe that's a signal that's supposed to match be the 50 or the clock signal derived from the power grid. Because this other pin here is connected to the middle pin of this transistor. Yeah, I'll give it a cleaning at some point. I don't think that's causing the problem, but I'll clean it. That is original factory flux. You know, it seems like this power supply is generating 12 volts. I do not see at all where the 5 volts is created. Unless this NEC... No, I don't think that's a... It's a transistor. I do not see... All right. Power goods. Yeah, one of them's probably a power good signal. I do not see where 5 volts is generated at all. There must be... Because it looks like this power supply delivers 12 volts and negative 12 volts to the main board. The main board must be generating 5 volts. I have not tested 5 volts from an IC yet. I would suspect it would be close to the power connector too. I don't see anything that screams, hey, here's the power generation circuitry. Because I don't see an inductor that would be required for a switching power supply. And I don't see a linear regulator that would be required for a linear power supply. Because unless there's a way to generate it with transistors. Or unless it's just using resistors to... That seems crazy. Yeah, I'll have to check a 5 volt pin on one of these chips to see if I can trace where 5 volts is being generated. But Rudy, the bigger problem is I don't have 12 volts from the power supply. That's the bigger problem. I only had negative 12 volts from the power supply. So I think this chip here is bad, and I don't have a replacement for it. What is it? RY1. RY1. RY. Okay, hold on. Okay. Please wait while I adjust this so that I am not looking at it upside down, because I cannot read upside down. RY1. Is RY1 on the power supply or main board? I'm not sure the power supply necessarily needs a lot of repairs. I just think it needs a replacement 12-volt linear regulator. And the factory flux cleaned off of it. Maybe a recap. I'm not convinced the caps have leaked, though. Main board, RY1, RY. Oh, it's a relay. The MSX does something. There's the relay. I think the relay is. I can't explain exactly what the relay does in the circuit, but I believe if I looked on this and traced out where that relay went, it has something to do with the switch that is on the top housing that is in each of the cartridge slot openings. And I think this relay has something to do with the interlock that turns the computer off if you try to insert a cartridge while it's powered up. I mean, that relay could be bad, but I have a bench power supply, but I can't power this up with that bench supply because it only has one. It's only one output. Also, I would also say that the way that this power supply here works, it is going to be harder to replace it with something than a standard power supply because it looks like it's generating. It looks like it's generating a power good signal, and it looks like it's generating some sort of a 60. Well, I guess in the US it'd be generating a 60 hertz signal derived from the power main, but I guess in Japan it'd be 50 hertz. I don't know what it's used for. Unfortunately, I'm not being as productive as I could be because I do not have schematics for this computer. I wish I had schematics for the power supply. Unfortunately, I also don't have this component. I think this component is bad because when I measured voltages off of it, none of them seemed right. Even now knowing what the pins are. So, I mean, I've got some ATX power supplies that I could sacrifice to the greater good, but oh, you're right, RetroTech or Die. I forgot. Japan has both 50 and 60 hertz. Okay, that's right. This computer actually should be both. It's going to be a don't know where the voltage label is on it. It's probably on the case bottom. Oh yeah, okay, yep. So yeah, 50, 60 hertz, AC 100 volts. Yep, you're right. I forgot. Japan has both. So this actually, it's a Japanese computer. Of course, it would have to use both because they don't know where it's going to be sold. Bridge, that's the bridge rectifier. It's bridge rectifier and I mean, there's a coil under it, but it's the bridge rectifier. I know what it is just by looking at it. I don't know how big it is. The problem is this power supply is more than just voltages, so I mean I if you've got a power supply for me, because I know you're going to be sending me something, I'll gladly accept it, because it's better than nothing. But the thing is, this power supply is generating some signals. I am not an electrical engineer to necessarily know, even if I create a schematic for this, which I can do that. I have no trouble creating a schematic, but then being able to ascertain what that is doing, that's beyond me. But it does seem as if it is generating some signals that are not strictly AC or DC. However, I won't refuse a power supply that might fit. I just don't know where my measuring devices have gone, because they always run away. The power supply is roughly 2 MSX cartridges wide by, I don't know, 2. I know power supplies are in your wheelhouse, Jeremy, but they're not within mine. I think it's roughly 6 inches by 6 inches. I mean, and at the rear of the case, it can be like 2 1/4 inches tall. But down here near this bottom part here, you don't have 2 1/4 inches tall here. I can try that, Rudy, but I don't. If this power supply is generating 5 volts, I do not see the 5-volt regulator on it. I think it's generating 12 volts. I don't know where 5 volts is coming from. It must be magic. I don't have... I don't have... I don't have any pinouts in any of these chips. Okay. Focus. I thought this was going to be an easy repair. How wrong was I? Okay, let's see here. So, okay, VCC of the Z80 processor is on pin 11. Okay. All right, so this is the Z80 processor. So here's pin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And of course, the trace would be on the other side of the board. Okay, let's start again. Here's the Z80 processor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Of course, the trace would be under the chip. Well, that's certainly going to make it harder to trace where it's going. I was actually hoping I could find a trace where I could at least maybe see where it's going. All right, let's pick another chip. Well, first, Rudy, I got to find a chip where I can find the pinout and actually maybe see the traces going to the chip. The Z80 processor is a bad candidate unless it has a second power pin, as unfortunately the trace is underneath the chip on the top side of the board. So that was actually a bad chip to start with. Maybe the 4116 RAMs. I see some things that look like they might actually be power traces. Okay. Let me get the pin out of the 4116. Oh, you want me to do that? Rudy, I really don't think there's a connection. I'll try it. Okay. There's pin 11 of the Z80 processor. I really think there is a connection. Okay. So that pin is 5 volts. Is that 0 ohms? All right. So that means the red wire is supposedly 5 volts. Because that's the way this cable's flipped. So red is 5 volts. There is no 5 volt regulator on this board. I do not see one. Okay, so that pin goes to, well, that's going to the middle pin of this transistor, the collector. So that's coming from the collector of a PNP transistor. So does that mean this is actually yeah, I did. So does that mean this is a switching power supply on the 5 volts? Which if it is, then I have to ask, where's the inductor? Yeah, it's connected to this transistor. Which now you get to the part of I don't know power supplies. I just know that I do not see. Well, okay, there is one inductor on this board, but given where it was located, I didn't think it had anything to do with the switching power supply because it's up here in the what appears to be the AC. Actually, no, I don't think that has anything to do with the switching power supply because I think that's on the mains incoming voltage. I mean, I guess this could be some weird switching power supply that somehow found a way around having an inductor, but or either that or that's not actually a resistor. No, it is. It's marked R101. Oh, let me get my bearings. Let me see if one of these is like a... No? Those are resistors, transistors. Well, Rudy, I kind of have a problem. I can't really power it up. I've desoldered wires. This is one of those times where the wires I've desoldered, they're not long enough for me to put them back on here. In order to power this back up, I need to find another power cord that I can sacrifice. But I don't think I had 5 volts there when I tested it. In fact, actually, Rudy, I think it was before you joined the stream, but I actually did measure. You know, my voltmeter really is not happy. I think the battery is about to die in it. Hold on, let me see what batteries this takes. Okay, AAA. All right, I'm probably going to have to run upstairs and grab batteries for my multimeter because I think the battery might be running low because it's rectifier could be producing the 5 volts. Rudy, I before you joined the stream, I did measure the voltages that I saw on the on this connector, and the only voltage that I had I did find one of these was 3.5 volts, and and I had -12. So I did actually have -12, and I had 3.5 volts. And the -12, I was able to trace -12 was connected to the wire that I think was -12. The one that was 3.5 volts, I think I had 3.5 volts coming from this transistor, so that's not right. So, well, there is an adjustment knob. So there's a potentiometer on this board. Let me see if it. Looks like it's connected to the 12-volt regulator, though. If I'm looking at the pins right. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. Recap time. Well, it might be recap time. That might be true. Unfortunately, I don't think I've got capacitors for it. All right. Well, I think it's Claris time because I'm going to pull the capacitor out and see what it is. All right. Let's see what capacitors I need, and then I'll see if I happen to have them. Honestly, I think honestly, I think this chip is bad because I didn't have 12 volts, and this one might be bad because I didn't have 5 volts. I think the only voltage I had was -12. So it would not. Unfortunately, this is a 12-volt regulator that has a reset, so I don't have any spares, and that's a transistor, so I don't have any spares. The only thing I have is a -12-volt regulator, which is inconvenient because that's the only one that works. But yeah, let me check the capacitors. I think I'm going to have to order. I think I'm going to have to order some spares of both of these. That is, if I can find this, or I'm going to have to recreate the schematic so I can send it to Jeremy so he could potentially help me figure out what the 2 non-voltage signals are that need to go to the main board. And I just replace it with a more modern power supply. Needless to say, this is not going to be repaired tonight as much as I would like to repair it, because I'd like to prove to the world once and for all that exciting baseball is exciting. Probably won't be, though. Unfortunately, this is the only computer I have that it'll play on. All right. Okay, let me remove these caps and melt various random plastic things on my workbench in the process of trying to get the desolder gun over here. All right, All right, let's see. Oh. Oh, I might need to clean my Desolder gun out. Or that is on the ground. Oh, that's on the ground plane. That's why that solder is taking a long time to melt. Okay, that's a ground plane, so I'm going to have to dwell here. All right, good night, Rudy. Thanks for joining us. I'll probably have to get some solder wick out because these 3 capacitors are glued together, so that's why I'm desoldering them all. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get the glue. Whoop. I might also have to add some solder because these are not coming out willingly. There we go, that one. All right, let me see if I can. Clean the solder up. I'm using the braid because it looked like the solder mostly came off on its own. But I may have to actually add some more solder because if these capacitors have leaked, it might be the solder might not be a eutectic blend, and that might be why I'm having trouble getting it out. Of course, there's also just one of the 2 pins is on a fairly decently large ground plane. Yeah, those are still stuck. It might actually be glued to the board too. Okay. When desoldering, if the solder doesn't come out all on its own, always add some solder and try removing it again. Because adding the solder can bring it back to, if there's contaminants in it, adding solder will bring it back to closer to a blend of metals that will then desolder more easily. Because if there's contaminants in it, such as the electrolyte, which would be the primary contaminant that might be there if the capacitor's leaked, well, that could throw off the temperature of the solder and what temperature it wants to melt at. So yeah, with that new solder, it seems to be melting a lot better. And I believe if I did it right, I did add Amazon affiliate links down in the description to the tools I use, because I am an Amazon affiliate. And if you use any of those links to purchase any of the items, and it won't cost you anything extra, but I will get a small commission. So if you're interested in what tools I use, you can check that out. All right. Okay. There's still a little solder in places. All right. I guess as a last resort, although it might not work as well with the fact that I think these capacitors are glued in place, I'm going to heat the pads and try to walk them out. Although I think for that to work, I'm going to have to cut the glue between them. Ooh, all right. And actually, I just caught a whiff of that distinctive smell that if you've ever desoldered a leaky capacitor, then you know it. It's the fishy smell. So actually, I bet these capacitors might be part of the problem, which would be good, because that might mean I can actually fix this power supply. Because even if I do replace it with a modern equivalent, it would be probably more helpful to have a working power supply that I can use to make sure that whatever I have to do to get a modern supply to work. Okay, well, there's the first cap. And now, remember, these caps do have glue on them, but I'm not sure that glue would be shiny after all these years. Although it could be because I pulled it off. Let me see if I can get a Q-tip here. And see if that's... No, it's not liquid. Okay. All right, it's a 4700 microfarad 16 volt. It is a national. So it was a decent cap. Oh, I know why these were so hard to remove. The leads were bent. And they were glued. All right, so there's the second one. Yeah, that might actually be leakage and glue. Yeah, I smelled it. Now, I'll get my little tester out because I can actually try to read them and see what they read at. Okay, and then that one... Oh, these are different values. Okay, the first two were 4716s. And the last one's a 3325, and I need to... Let me mark these. So that was a... All right. I just wrote on that heatsink what those three were, because if I don't have capacitors now, I might forget. I'll also double check the, I'll probably do the replay to make sure I wrote those in the right spot. Okay, so here's this capacitor that was in, so this one I believe was the one in C106. Let me see if this will actually fit. There we go. So it reports to be a 3300 microfarad. And it is reading as 3000 microfarad. ESR 0.02 ohms. That's pretty good. Voltage loss 1.9%. Hey Thomas, it's going good. I just pulled caps off because I was beginning to wonder if I had bad caps. I figured out where the 5 volts is supposed to come from, but it's not. The transistor is where the 5 volts is coming from. All right, so this is 4700 microfarad. Reading is 4777 microfarad. Voltage loss 1.6%. ESR is 0. So even though it kind of looked like that cap might have leaked, I might take some isopropyl and see if that, what looks like cap juice, wipes off or not. Because if it wipes off with isopropyl alcohol, then it probably is electrolyte. But if it stays there, it's probably just where I pulled the glue. Well, it's a 4700 microfarad capacitor. That one's 4994, 1.9%. The larger capacitors always take a long time on this meter, even when they're brand new. I'm not sure they're bad, but they probably are, because I thought I smelled fish when I desoldered one of them. The board, it has a lot of flex on that board. All right, there is one other capacitor here. Let me see if I can get it out. See what it is. Unfortunately, I'll probably have to order capacitors. I'll probably order a PNP transistor that... I'll probably order a 12-volt regulator as well. Okay, so this is a 470 microfarad, 25 volt. It was not glued in. Well, actually, maybe it was glued in. Yeah, I guess I can desolder the green transistor. Yeah, I'll do that. Why not? % voltage loss. Yeah, I don't really like the high voltage loss. I'll just plan on replacing those. It's okay if I don't get this running tonight. All right, let's test this transistor. That's a good idea. All right. Let's see if I can get this. Oh, wow. Okay, that transistor is pasted on there with thermal compound. Let me see if I can find my spudger to gently pry up on it. There we go. Loosen the whole. Oh. Ah. Okay, that might be why I was having trouble reading the ground. It was isolated from the No, that's probably not it. Okay, let's take a look. So this should be a PNP transistor. Let me see here. Pin 1 is base. Pin 2 is collector. And pin 3 is emitter. So... testing good. Yeah. The factory flux is... so that's got factory thermal compound. Factory flux is kind of crusty. I'll probably order a replacement for this transistor, but it does kind of look like it's okay, potentially. I say I can't test this with this tester. I guess if it came down to it, I could breadboard test it, but let me all right. I'm not going to solder this back on right now. I just want to, so I don't lose the fact that it was isolated from the aluminum plate here. I'm just going to screw that back in. I'm going to leave it desoldered for now. I mean, without capacitors on the board, it's not like I'm going to power this up anyways. I am going to, because Rudy was concerned about this resistor. I did read it in circuit, and it seemed to be a reasonable value. But let me go ahead and just pull it out of circuit and test it. Because I did have some trouble testing it in circuit, because I think there might be a capacitor or something that was... well, that looks... okay, that certainly looks like a pretty gnarly resistor. I can't tell what it's marked. All right. Shaky microscope cam time. See if we can read the... read the letters, maybe? I can focus it. 121J. Oh, let me just do this. There we go. Hold on. It's probably upside down. All right, so that is a National. There's the National brand sign, and there's a 3. And it is 121J. Okay. 121J. 1 watt. Okay. That's a 1 watt. Let's see, 121. I think it's going to be 121J. Oh, hold on. Whoa, that's weird. 2, 3. Well, I sure thought I read what seemed to be a reasonable value in circuit, but out of circuit, that... my component tester didn't see anything. All right, my ohm meter says 119.2 ohms. I think I'm liable to trust that. Now, maybe maybe it's just not making good contact. Oh, okay, I think the one leg isn't making good contact the way I had it inserted. Let me try that. Because I know these test resistors. There we go. It just wasn't making good contact. Okay. All right, so that resistor is okay. Wow, that's weird. Okay, I was able to get it out of the hole. Now it doesn't want to go back in. Might be the first component I had to replace because it didn't want to cooperate. That is weird. Okay, that is really weird. One of the legs of this resistor is flattened compared to the other. Almost like maybe they did that at the factory to... Oh, okay. Okay, that is really weird. It doesn't want to go back in the hole. Maybe there's some... All right. Okay, so maybe I'll be ordering a new resistor because the leads are squashed and I can't get it back in the hole. Weird. Okay, so I need a new resistor. Not because it's bad, but because... I mean, seriously, that... It looks like they smashed... So the lead is round coming out of the capacitor, but it looks like where it was stuck through the other side of the board, it was flattened. Like that's the way they held it in the board before it got wave soldered. It will not go back in the hole. That'll be the first time I've had to replace a component because of something like that. All right, let me take a look. So this transistor here is in the circuit. So I guess let's test this one. So I don't know what this one's supposed to be. Oh, wait. I can read. I think I can read it. It is a C1684, maybe? Well, if it... I'll pull the microscope out. NPN transistor. A high-gain NPN transistor. Impressive. If I was building a synthesizer... Those of you that have been watching my channel for a while, you might know that I started by trying to build a synthesizer, and if anyone that's been watching for a while wonders I gave up on it because it was not getting good watch hours. C1684 NPN Q39. Okay, but it tested fine. I'm going to presume that it is an NPN transistor. That it actually is an NPN transistor. So I'll go ahead and put it back in place, which I think makes sense because it looks like it's an NPN transistor that is then controlling the PNP transistor, maybe, which is controlling the supposedly, which should be generating 5 volts, however that works. Okay. I just at least want to put that back in place. You know, I think I'm going to... Oh, and you didn't see that at all because I forgot to switch camera views. I, quite honestly, am maybe going to bank on... Maybe it's just those capacitors. And if it's anything more than that, then... Maybe it's just time to replace the power supply and come up with a circuit to replace any signals that would be lost by replacing this power supply. Ew. Okay. Okay, I do not know how much of that, though, is the factory flux, which is all over this board. That's why it looks so crusty. And how much of that is possibly electrolyte. All right, I am going to see what capacitors I might have. If you'll hold on a moment. Let me walk over here and take a look at the capacitors I have sitting on the table that you can't see. The capacitors are not organized in any way, shape, or form. But it should only take me a moment to quickly look through them. Ooh, okay, I might have a 470. So that's 470. What's the voltage on it? Or 16. Ah, wrong voltage. Womp womp. They're only 16s. I need 25. All right. Thought I might be lucky, but... All right. I was not. I guess I could check some of these capped kits I have for other computers and just happen to see if... I don't think that one... Nope. Well, I could rob a capacitor from my Atari 1050 cap kit, but that won't really do me much good. Because then I just have to order another cap kit. Potentially. So let me not do that. No, wrong value. Unfortunately, I don't think this power supply is going to share anything in common with the power supplies I've recapped that I ordered extra caps for. Let's see. Although the good thing is, for the mystery item that I have upstairs that came from Japan, I might actually have caps for it amongst these bags, which might be a clue that I have recapped the same item before. Nope. All right. It would appear as if I do not have capacitors. I came close to having the one smaller one. Oh, yay! Thomas Armstrong has sound now. Okay, unfortunately, I do not have any of these capacitors in amongst my capacitors for other computers. The closest one was this one, but this is a 25 volt that I pulled out of this, and I only have 16 volt. Plus, I need a resistor. So, it's 2 4700s, 16 volts, a 3300 25 volt, and a 470 25 volt. Unfortunately, the 470 I have is a 16 volt, which is not good. Because I think where that one is in the circuit, it does need to be higher than 16 volt. And I don't I don't have 35 volt. The problem isn't. Yeah, I could go up to 35 volts on all of them, but in my stashes I do not have. Yeah, it's like 10:30 p.m. It is getting late. Unfortunately, I don't have instant delivery on capacitors. It's not that I was actually looking for just the capacitance values. I wasn't, and then was looking at voltage. This was the only one that I have a matching capacitance for. Well, okay, I think I have one 4700 microfarad capacitor that was at a correct voltage, but it's in a cap kit for another thing. So stealing that capacitor would not help me in the long run, because there are two capacitors of that value in the no, there's not two. There's just one. But then that means I can't recap that item until I replace the capacitor. And actually, it is an item I would like to put back together sooner rather than later. Let me just double check a few other cap kits. Well, there's a 4716. But then I wouldn't be able to try recapping the analog board for one of the other SE that I have. Oh, nope, that's wrong. I mean, if I happen to have all the values I needed, then maybe I would swipe. I would have to find all the values, but then, of course, then I'll have to order capacitors. Yeah, I'm still short on values, so even if I stole all the values that I found in these cap kits, in other words, if I robbed Peter to pay Paul, I'm still short one value. And then I have to order caps for these other things and can't recap them to see if I can't get a few projects done. Okay, that is... Okay, let me check one more place. Nope. Nope. Okay. Yep, alas, I do not have all the caps I need. If I did, I would just swipe them from these cap kits and deal with it later. Okay. Well, it looks like Jeremy, though, has a power supply that I can try installing in this computer to replace this one. So I think probably the next step I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to try to draw the schematic of this power supply. Because I do know from looking at where some of these wires go, there were 2 ground wires at 5 volts, 12 volts, and negative 12 volts. But I believe there is 1 wire, and maybe it's just a power good wire. But I need to draw out the schematic to try to figure it out. Because I don't know if it is or not. But it looks like Jeremy's got a power supply from Computer Reset that I can try to install in it. Probably means it might need recapped. Fork or ring terminals. Yeah, I can find fork or ring terminals. I probably have some somewhere. Remember, Black Friday is coming. Order soon. Well, I really don't think that capacitors will be a popular Black Friday gift, but yeah, I'll order them soon. I would like to get some of these projects done. Please don't leave bad comments if you're a type of person that would totally buy all the capacitors your loved one wants on Black Friday if they went on sale for even a meager discount off a piece. Honestly, I probably won't buy anything on Black Friday. Because if I need it, then I'm probably going to buy it when I need it. And if it's something I want, then I will probably hold off and wait until it truly goes on sale. Yes, Jeremy, I actually have 2 ultrasonic cleaners, but I need to sell one of them. Because I only use the one. I don't use the other now because I've got a big one and I don't really need to keep a small one. So yeah, I've got ultrasonic cleaners. So I don't need to buy one of those on Black Friday. Yeah, honestly, I've got a list of... I do have a short list of components I need to buy. Because I've got the, I guess just the... For projects you might have seen me work on that are waiting for parts. So on Dave's stream, I guess it was a couple Sundays ago now, I had taken apart a Mac LC display. So I guess this is the 12-inch display. It has corrosion from where a capacitor leaked on the board. So I need to order a capacitor for it to replace the one that like super leaked. So I need to order a replacement for that, and I need to order a resistor. I wish I could figure out what wattage resistor this is, because it looks like it is a, I mean, maybe it's just like a 1 watt resistor, but it's a I think it's like a 3.3 ohm resistor. So it may actually be like more than one. But I can't tell what wattage resistor it is from it. But unfortunately, where the capacitor leaked, one of the legs broke on it. So basically, I need to order those two parts to put back on that board, try to repair the trace damage from the leaking capacitor, and repair the broken circuit board where the UPS dropped the box and actually cracked the circuit board. I think the crack is like right here where I've scraped solder mask off. Oh, you can't see that. I think the crack is where I scraped solder mask off by the flyback transformer, so it's got like right there. So I need to bridge those traces, replace that capacitor, replace the resistor, and then I want to reassemble it enough to see. Yeah, I'll probably order a 2 watt resistor just to make sure. But then I need to see if with those repairs, does the monitor look like it's going to be salvageable? I realize if those repairs get it to the point where it looks like it's salvageable, meaning I'm fully expecting I should probably replace the rest of the capacitors, but I don't want to order those unless the monitor's salvageable. If I do those repairs and the monitor is still junk, then I may have to declare it that the monitor itself is unsalvageable, because unfortunately there's broken plastic, which bummed me out because UPS dropped it. And that means I will not, it doesn't mean I'm going to scrap it. It just means that I need to find another 12-inch display to do with what I was going to do with that monitor, because I was going to set my LC up with the monitor that would have been as it was in the computer lab at the middle school I went to. And that is the monitor. So I really wish it didn't have broken plastic, but c'est la vie. Let's see. Well, the Atari 1050 floppy drive, I just need to recap it and put it back together. Of course, I don't have any discs for it, so I've not been incentivized. Ooh, speaking of Atari, I found my drill bit, so really I'll probably pull the Atari 400 back on the workbench at some point, drill the hole in the shield that I need to get the video and audio cable out of it, and maybe actually finally put it back together. Yeah, the tube is probably good. The flyback is an area of concern. I don't know if the problem I saw is potentially caused by a bad flyback transformer, but given the fact that there is a crack from some of the traces of the flyback transformer, if I fix those traces and it's still doing the same thing, the flyback transformer may actually be bad, which in that case it would fall to my category of not salvageable, because honestly, from what I see these monitors go for, it would be cheaper for me to try to buy another monitor than it would be to buy a flyback transformer. Yeah, the tube's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with the tube, fortunately. Yeah, but it's the flyback transformer I'd be concerned about. If replacing that crack doesn't fix it, I would be concerned that the flyback could be bad. Yeah. Well, I'm not. I probably won't be able to order parts till next week. Let me see. What else am I working on that has been... Oh, my oscilloscope. I need to probably put it back together. For it, I need to 3D print a new housing for the Gotek because it doesn't fit the opening. Unfortunately, I wish I could kind of angle a camera over to it. I may... I found one on Thingiverse that looks like it might fit it. I may solicit help to modify a drawing to actually fit the opening. Because I would like to put my oscilloscope back together with the floppy drive properly, well, the Gotek properly mounted in the floppy drive opening. And then I also need to replace the 2 Dallas chips, but I got to order those. They're like 50. It's going to be about $100 to order the modern replacements for those 2 chips. But at least now that I was able to get save the non-volatile settings to disk, thanks to finally getting a Gotek that would work with it, I can now proceed with getting those chips, because that was the thing. If I couldn't get the non-volatile settings off of it, I would not be happy with just generic non-volatile settings, because those are the factory calibration settings, and mine would be better than the generic ones. I guess, though, the generic ones would be, if those chips died before I could get the settings, they'd be better than nothing, but I would greatly preferring to be able to get mine off of my oscilloscope. So I have successfully done that. I even ran the tool that came with the tool I used to download it, and the checksums match. So I do seem to have good a good download from the oscilloscope. Dave, yeah, speaking of Sunday projects, the 3D printer, I moved it. The 3D printer that I started to put together, I do still need to order parts for it. Thanks to that, that's right, I forgot to contact Amazon. Okay, I need to contact Amazon about the stepper motor that I'd ordered that what I got was an apparent return with the wrong stepper motor in the box. Basically, I had ordered the stepper motor, the Creality stepper motor that has the longer shaft because I've got a metal, a dual gear extruder upgrade. And what was in the box was the same thing that you pull off the printer that has a press fit gear on it. So someone apparently tried to, and unfortunately successfully got a free stepper motor upgrade for their 3D printer at the cost of someone else not realizing that the box had been tampered with until the return period where you could just request a label ended. So I do need to contact Amazon on that. So probably won't be able to finish that 3D printer up on your stream Sunday, Dave, but there's always the following Sunday potentially. But yeah, so there's that. Because I've got my Ender 3 and it's I assembled it, and then I decided to try to do the extruder upgrade, and then once I got everything apart and broke something in the process, which is why I just haven't put the old extruder back together. I broke part of it trying to remove it. So I do need to finish that upgrade before I can test the printer. But I might actually have another upgrade for that printer in my Amazon cart. Also, I consulted with my coworker about there was a capacitive bed leveling, or I guess auto leveling upgrade that I had, but it won't fit the hot end. So actually, he recommended I just install the CR Touch upgrade that he knows that I have because I bought it and then got this capacitive one that's like from TH3D, I believe. So I'll probably just install that upgrade. But I may have something else in my Amazon cart because it's cheap enough. So hopefully we'll have a nice 3D printer. And then, oh yeah, I guess I'll probably have the Apple monitor back out. Because actually the reason why I even discovered my National CF2000 was seemingly not working was it's the first one I pulled out to test that Apple monitor I was repairing on Dave's stream Sunday. Because I figured out where the horizontal and vertical hold controls were. The reason I pulled the National out instead of one of my Yamaha MSX computers is because the National actually has an composite out jack on it, which I will reflow this board when I get the power supply sorted. The Yamaha MSX computer requires a dongle, and I think the dongle I need for it I might have loaned to someone, so I was trying to... anyways, I did finally find something to plug in. I pulled out my CX5M2 computer that came from Canada, pulled it out to test, and confirmed it powered up and had a video signal, and then plugged it into the Apple monitor I was trying to repair, and tried to adjust the horizontal and vertical hold controls, and no dice. So unfortunately, the video, it looks like the hold is completely gone. I'm suspecting that an IC has gone bad on the monitor. I really wish that there were schematics available for this monitor online, because I don't know enough about monitors to really take a guess as to which chip it is without schematics. But I suspect that there's an IC or transistor or something that's gone bad, because it looks like the horizontal and vertical controls are just not working at all. I thought they were working because at the end of Dave's stream, I actually got a sort of stable image, but powered the monitor off, powered it back on, and it's gone. There's no controlling it. I do know it's not the caps, because I did recap it. I guess maybe next time I have the monitor open, I'll double check that I didn't swap polarity on a cap, but I think I suspect that one of the ICs has gone bad. So, or just needs to be reflowed. I reflowed the heavy components, but I didn't reflow everything because they didn't seem like they needed it. But I suspect I got an IC bad, so that'll be... yeah, I'll have to check the IC part numbers online, but some of them are... I'd prefer not to have to completely disassemble that monitor again, because it's not exactly what I deem a easy to disassemble monitor, and I'm afraid there are some things that are fragile on it, especially the front panel board, the way it goes together. If I have to completely disassemble it to read part numbers, I will, but yeah, I can check those part numbers online. I don't know if you figured out, but I prefer working from schematics instead of just guessing. But I will guess if I have to. So there's that project. And then I guess I'll reveal the mystery project that I have is I have an LC475. I bought it from Japan because I found a seller on eBay US, that's in Japan, and the price they wanted for it, free shipping to the US, was like way cheaper than I could buy an LC475 that was already in the States, which is this kind of the sad state of retro computing, that it can be cheaper to import it than it can be to buy it already in the States. And it kind of seems wasteful to me to import it because there's plenty of them already here, but yet they go for crazy money. But anyways, so I got the LC475. I'm sure it needs recapped, although quite honestly, the logic board actually looks pretty great. I can't tell that the caps have leaked much, but they probably have. I'm sure if I bring it down here where I got some bright lights on the workbench, I'll probably see the starts to leakage. Hi, Christopher. I cannot read that. I do not know Japanese. Also, if anyone's wondering what that statement, how in the world I was able to get the name of the game into the YouTube description and into my Twitter and into Coffee and into Patreon and everywhere where I put it, I had to search the internet for the English name of that game, Exciting Baseball. It's probably blown out. Until I finally found someone who I believe is in Japan who had a playthrough video of that game, or I didn't watch the video, but they had a video on YouTube, and luckily they had Exciting Baseball and the Japanese name of the game in these characters, which I think might be katakana, because I just tried like Google Translate to just translate Exciting Baseball into Japanese, and it didn't get the name right. It got half the name right. And by right, I mean half the characters matched, half the characters did not match. So I finally found a YouTube video, and the Japanese name of the game matched visually with what's on the label, and I went with that. So hopefully I actually am correct in the name, but yeah. So that's my secret as to how someone who does not know any Japanese got the Japanese name of the game into everywhere, including on my thumbnail picture, is I had to just search for someone who had played the game on a YouTube video and had the Japanese and English name of the game in the video title. So I'm sure if you search YouTube now for those Japanese characters, you'll probably find the video I found to be able to do that. So that's my secret to how I got the Japanese name of the game in the description and the title and everything without knowing Japanese. It's called, I searched for it and then copied and pasted. Yes. Nessun, I can't, I'm sure I'm butchering that, but yeah, I did figure out that was, in using Translate, I was able to figure out that was the transliteration of it. But and interestingly enough, trying to use Translate with that was actually getting it closer. But yeah, I just finally ended up finding it somewhere where it had been typed out, and I copied and pasted. Go for Unicode. But yeah, it looks like I did strike out for being able to play Exciting Baseball tonight. That probably made for a more exciting video. So let's see here. So that was the, oh yeah, Jeremy. Jeremy, if this 12-inch black and white monitor is a dud, would you want the case for your Mac monitor? You'll probably have to send me a picture of which 12-inch monitor you're talking about. This LC monitor I have, it falls in my category of I don't want to Frankenstein it because it's for a specific purpose. And I don't want to just, it's not a monitor I want to jam into another case just to have non-broken plastic. It's a monitor I want in the original Apple case because that's what I remember using from back in the day. I guess if that was the only way to salvage this monitor was to replace the plastic case, then maybe I would do that and then find another Apple monitor. But I don't think the plastic is going to be the area of concern at the moment. It's the analog board, or whatever they call the board that has the flyback transformer on it. Until I confirm that I can repair that board, the monitor is, the status of the monitor is questionable. Yeah, I think the manufacturer of the tube, which would be, it actually, I think it, actually, you know, I don't know that the manufacturer of the tube made the monitor, Thomas, because I think Hitachi made the monitor, but I think it might be a Samsung tube. I can't, the label on the tube's on the bottom. No, Mitsubishi made the monitor. Okay, maybe it is a Mitsubishi tube. I might be thinking of another monitor. Yeah, this 12-inch RGB display, Mitsubishi made the monitor because the circuit boards have Mitsubishi on them. And the tube is a... Oh, it is a Mitsubishi tube. Okay. I've had enough monitors open that I forgot which made which. So yeah, it's a Mitsubishi monitor. So yeah, the analog board is the area of concern for that monitor. I am somewhat concerned that the... Hey Adam, yeah, you missed the cool stuff. But there'll be more cool stuff later because I have to order parts before I can continue, or Jeremy's going to send me a power supply at some point too for it. Unfortunately, the problem is I'm not getting 5 volts. So the caps were leaking in the power supply, but unfortunately, I didn't know what size I needed to have ordered them beforehand. And the there's a transistor on the power supply that might be bad too. They would. I believe I can fix the monitor too. I will be bummed about the cracked plastic on the front because the monitors I remember using didn't have cracked plastic on the front. But yeah, I mean... Oh, you got a box from Javier. Awesome. I mean, as long as the flyback transformer is not gone. Unfortunately, given what the monitor was doing, it was so the LC monitor, the problem with it was the image was wrapped around over the top. So the bottom of the image started at about 2/3 of the way up the tube, and then you could see the display, and then it kind of wrapped around the top, so that like the menu bar was like behind the No, that doesn't sound right because I thought the image was scrambled too. But yeah, wait, I think I've had 2 monitors. Yeah, okay, I think that's what it was. No. Hold on. I think I'm getting monitors mixed up. Okay, so the Apple IIe monitor that I tried to repair on Dave's stream Sunday, before I did the work on it Sunday, I had no image. Now you can see what looks like it trying to draw something, but there's no hold. The hold controls are just gone. So it looks like you've put the image in a blender. So I think there's probably I think there might be an IC that's gone, or maybe the potentiometers are gone. So Adam, I think you had said you had some spare like boards that go to those monitors. I'll let you know if I need some potentiometers to replace the ones. I think it's an IC on the board though, and I'll probably just be able to get an IC and be done with it. Let's see, the LC monitor, it was... No, maybe the image was all scrambled. It was like I mean, I could tell there was an image there, but it was... Hold on. it seems like I have a third monitor somewhere that I've forgotten about. Okay, actually, maybe the LC monitor did both. Maybe at one point I got it to show an image, but it was wrapped around the top, and then maybe another time it was just all scrambly. So maybe it's done both. The image wrapped around the top is okay. Yeah, it's the composite color 2E monitor. So I think Hitachi made it, because I think there were two manufacturers of those. So it's the Hitachi one. Yeah, Jeremy, that's good, because it'll probably be next week before I get the packages to you the one package I've been saying I'll send, and I keep forgetting to send. I really, really, really for sure this time want to send that one to you next week before I can forget again. I can't send it to you until next week. And then the oscilloscope that I'm going to send you, I'll try to get that one out to you next week too, just so I can get it out of the spot where it is on the floor. That's kind of a trip hazard spot. So I'm trying to catch up on that. Anyways, I think as long as the flyback transformer is not gone on the LC monitor, because unfortunately I think one of those two symptoms, the flyback transformer, could be bad. But the thing is, there is a crack on the circuit board right beside the flyback transformer. So if the crack is the cause, then I'm good. If the flyback transformer is actually faulty, then I'm not good. Adam, it is the monitor that has the flip down panel on it. I sure thought my 2E was supposed to be platinum though, because it's one of the 2Es with the numeric keypad on it. But maybe it is beige. It looks more beige to me right now, but that could be because it's yellowed. Fortunately, with yellowed plastics, I don't. Let me put it this way. The 2E I have is not the color of my Duo disc. My Duo disc, though, is obviously yellowed. The 2E I have, I sure thought it was supposed to be platinum colored, given that it has the numeric keypad on it, but maybe it is actually beige. It could also be platinum. Okay, yeah, that's good. Maybe I just need to find a spot on the 2E case where it wasn't exposed to sunlight, and maybe I'll be able to tell better. Unfortunately, maybe you can also share with me some other computer I have that is definitely platinum, and I can then match colors. Actually, maybe the LC is supposed to be platinum. I might have a color reference I can use. We'll discuss offline. So let's see here. Oh yeah, and I guess upcoming videos, because I guess some of these so I do have some videos in the pipeline, even though my pipeline is quite stalled right now. But I do have a couple of donations to the channel so I've got a channel surprise episode that will come out. I'm going to try to maybe not make it take so long to produce, so it might not be quite as humorous, but that is part of the reason why my pipeline is stalled, is because I keep finding ways to make these videos longer to make, which is bad, because that means I get less out. So yeah, I've had a couple channel donations, so I need to get a channel surprise out. Also means that yes, that's the part of it. Also, I know there's been a lot of people that have sent me stickers. I am very bad about, if it's a first class letter, that I just rip it open and then was sticking the stickers in a pile on my desk. So I do have all those stickers. In fact, they're down here. In fact, I'll actually just kind of, they were down here. Okay, now I've misplaced them. They can't be very far. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I knew they didn't go very far. I stuck the floppy disk box on some of them, and the others are, I probably moved them off to the... Okay, hold on just a second. I'm going to do a quick... Here we go. We're going to do a quick sticker thank you, but I'm going to probably put, I think I was going to put them in the channel surprise episode. Just basically, I've decided where I'm going to put my stickers, which was another part of the problem. So I've got this toolbox beside me that I know you can't really, actually, I guess you can see it slightly. But I was going to put the stickers on the back side of the toolbox that I have. Let me see here, but in no particular order. And I'm going to set aside stickers that are not from channel subscribers. So don't worry. If you see me if you kind of think I'm setting stickers aside, it's because they're stickers that I'm going to put on the toolbox, but they were not sent to me by you all. Or they're stickers that just somehow made them into this assortment that have, one of them's the early voting sticker I got the other day. So I got 8 bits are all you need from Joe. I have an Apple II Plus badge from Mac Effects that I might even stick that on my toolbox. I know, that seems weird. You got Mac 84 sticker. Dave, you got your Dave's Vintage Apple Tech sticker there. Let's see, that's another Dave sticker. That's another Dave sticker. All right, we got Sus from Garth Beagle. Oh, and he sent me an extra Sus sticker. We got the monkey sticker from Garth Beagle. Hold on. Here we go. I have... So from Print and Play Retrospective, I have a couple stickers. And we got an EEP sticker from Mac 84. Let's see, that's another Mac 84 sticker. I got a sticker from the Retro Hack Shack. Sticker from Retro Tech Chris. That's another monkey sticker from Garth. That's another Sus sticker. Oh yeah, Claris the Cowdog sticker. It's the same one I've got. I do have one of these on my desolder station. Let's see, that's another EEP sticker. Yes, got a Retro Tech or Die sticker. It's another 8 bits are all you need. I got a Blue Million. Yeah, I got a Blue Million, pun intended, Blue Scuzzy stickers. Could have a contest in the comments. Guess how many Blue Scuzzy stickers Justin has. Unfortunately, I probably won't be able to declare a winner because I probably have more of those stickers hidden in spots in the house where I'll just keep finding them and I won't be able to declare a winner. So, so I love the sushi sticker. Oh, I'll probably know the, the Sus sticker. Oh yeah, autocorrect. Oh yeah, speaking of the Sus sticker, the reason why Garth, I had Garth send me an extra or two is because I am on the search for the perfect dead components box. Right now, my dead components are in this anti-static bag, but I know this will fill up faster than I'd like to admit. So I'm looking for the perfect box to be my first dead component box. And partially because I'd written bad or sus on the anti-static bag, it's this is the sticker for my bad component box. So thanks, Garth, for making sure I had one. I can stick one on my sticker toolbox wall, and I have one for the bad components box. I have an idea of what I'd like. I actually have been looking for both at thrift shops and on eBay. So I think I have an idea of what I'd like. Just want to make sure it has enough room that I don't fill it up too quick. Oh, Eric, I just saw your comment. High-res photos of that board. I can ask my daughter if she can translate the kanji. Okay. Yeah, I'll see if I can get some pictures of that. I'm wondering, though, if those letters might just be like kanji letters and not necessarily words, but I'll try to get a picture of that to you. What might be more helpful is if maybe she could translate the... I don't need the whole manual translated, but if she could just let me know what the controls are for the game. If she could just read it and like tell me that, oh yeah, it's like the in fact, actually, I think if you look at that, you'll see that there's a an outline picture of the MSX computer, and I just need to know what the it's pointing to keys on the keyboard. I need to know what the Japanese letters say. Yeah, that would be helpful. I just need to know what the controls are for the game. I don't need the whole manual translated. It's only like 3 pages of instructions, but I think the whatever it's pointing to keys, I can tell what the keys are that it's pointing to because they actually used English letters on the keyboard. It's what the Japanese words pointing to those keys, that's what I need to know. If I have that, then I think I can play the game. Or at least I'll be more successful, because I've tried guessing the controls, and that's definitely not a winning move. Yeah, you might as well just let the computer strike you out and hit every ball without knowing what those controls are. So, yeah, actually, Eric, I put it's the link I just copied to the chat. So, Jeremy, I want something bigger in a plastic pencil box for my box. I actually am looking at wood boxes because I kind of wanted it to be unnecessarily fancy. Because if I'm going to stick a sus sticker on it, I think I want it to be a wooden box. So, and I've got a few candidates. I just haven't bought one yet. I bought that LC475 instead because it was at a really, really good price. Unfortunately, though, the dangers of spindler plastic struck in shipping, I decided not to complain to the seller because of how much I paid for it. It was still a good deal. It just wasn't a great deal. But unfortunately, all of the clips that hold both the power supply and the logic board into the case broke. All of them. Now, granted, there was one left standing, but the moment I touched it to take a look at it, it broke because it was actually cracked almost all the way through already. I quite honestly, given how well it seemed to be packed, I was kind of surprised that much carnage ensued. But yeah, there is nothing to hold the logic board in. There is nothing to hold the power supply in. So plugging cables in is very difficult. However, interestingly enough, although possibly because there is no floppy drive and no hard drive in it, all of the floppy drive clips are fine. All of the hard drive clips are fine. The hard drive bracket was snapped into it, so the fan, okay, I think I broke one of the fan clips removing, no, I broke one of the speaker clips removing the speaker. The fan clips are fine. So it had the fan and the speaker, those clips are fine. It was like all the logic board and all the power supply clips are just like in a bag I've got upstairs because they just broke completely. Yeah. Anyways, I actually, through the power of finding empty cases on eBay, I actually have a LC2 case I ordered today so I can, luckily the lid of this LC475 is great. The knock on wood, the two latches on the case top are not going to break. But luckily, Garth helped me out. He told me that, yes, the LC475 case top will go onto an LC2 case base. I think the LC2s generally are more likely to be better plastic, so hopefully I'll be able to put all the components from the LC475 into that, put the proper top on, and you'll be able to plug cables in because it'll be latched in. So I do need to recap it though. But I've had it powered up. It actually, I did remember though that if you don't have a battery in, you have to turn it off on to trick it into powering up. But I put a battery in it just because that's annoying. But yeah, I am trying to figure out what operating system is appropriate for it. I think someone, when I asked during, someone's stream last night, they suggested 761. So of course today I promptly installed 8.1 and found it's a bit disappointing on a slow 040. So maybe I will try 761. Anyone with recommendations of a good operating system version for the LC475, that would be great. So 761, maybe 8.1's not so bad. Maybe I just need some more RAM. It only has, I think it has 12 megs of RAM. So maybe with a bit more RAM, maybe 8.1 would be better. But I guess the good thing is I put my Blue SCSI F4 in it. And the good thing is I can just copy that image off the micro SD card or rename it, put another blank image on, and give 761 a try. And maybe I'll be able to see that 8.1 wasn't as bad as I thought it was, because maybe it's just the speed of the computer. Or maybe I'll see that really 8.1 is more bloated than I want 761. So, but that will be, I have no idea what I'm going to use the computer for. I think the main reason I wanted it is because the LC is the main, like the computer I used. It's the one I remember. It's why I want to put the 12-inch RGB display on it. So it's the one I remember. It's actually the one I've put the 2E card that I have in. So if you saw Joe's stream, you'd probably, Joe's stream where he was announcing the Y cable for the 2E card. Yep, I've got a 2E card. It's going in my LC. So I've pulled the network card out of it. The Apple IIe card's going in the LC. I'm not going to try networking the LC. But the LCs I remember growing up in middle school, they had the 2E card in them. So that's the setup that I remember. The LC2, the LC3, and the LC470. I don't have an LC3. I want an LC3. I don't have it yet. So the LC2 and the LC475 are kind of like my, here's the second and the last of the pizza boxes of the type. I'll get an LC3 someday. It's kind of like my quadda of LCs. I don't really need the ones with the monitor on them. The pizza boxes are great. I think I can stack 4 of the pizza boxes in the space of one, like LC580. And for the most part, I think I can manage the plastics better than an LC580. So yeah, pizza boxes. Yay. I like them. So anyways, that's kind of like my setup, because I like the LC pizza boxes, face it. Why, if I do get to the point where I can repair other people's Macs, the LCs will probably be the first ones I do, especially the pizza box ones, because I've got power supplies. Well, yeah, it's really all you need to test it. The power supply, the monitor adapter, and RAM and video RAM. So I've got RAM, I've got a video RAM, I've got a power supply. I'd be able to test them. If I can maybe figure out why SEs stop working correctly, then maybe I might fix those too. So yeah, that would probably be the one other mystery. The LC, or not the LC, the SEs. I have cap kits to recap the other SE. I'm not convinced that's going to fix my problem. And that does include caps for the power supply. I do not know why the power supplies are behaving as they are, but basically I've got two SEs. They both have the Sony power supply. Both Sony power supplies are outputting close to 13 volts on the 12-volt rail. I know that is out of spec. On the one that I have recapped, I tried adjusting the potentiometer in the power supply. And while the power supply was on, I adjusted it down so that the output was 12 volts. Still had a good solid 5 volts, had 12 volts. Powered it off, powered it back on again, and was back to 12.75 volts, which is out of spec. It actually causes the monitor to, the image is kind of streaky. So, yeah, Dave, those power supplies are easy to recap, but the recap didn't fix the problem on the one. So I'm kind of hesitant to recap the other until I figure out what causes this problem, because I don't know that recapping it's going to fix it. Although maybe it will. I mean, the thing is, I didn't think to check this power supply before I recapped it, because I thought the problems I was having had nothing to do with voltage. But after recapping it, I seem to have a problem. Maybe on the other power supply, maybe recapping it will fix the problem, because I have the problem and it's not recapped. So I don't know. I wish I understood what caused it. The only schematic I've found for the SE power supply is really hard to understand, because it looks like it was scanned from a fax or something. But yeah, I do have caps to recap the other one though, so maybe that'll fix it. I don't know if I'll do that on my channel. Maybe I will recap one on my channel. I'm not really crazy about doing lots of monitor repair videos, and face it, the SE is basically a computer and a monitor. Maybe I will do one for my channel. But yeah. So anyways, yeah, the videos I got coming up, I guess the channel surprise. I showed off the stickers I had. Yes, I think I had alluded to, I had the TRS-80 Model 4P recapping live stream that I want to turn that into a shorter video that just kind of walks through the recapping process, but not in the multi-hour live stream format. So that's one. Given the fact that I missed Septandy for that video, and I have a couple others that I'd like to get out that have kind of monthly named timeliness needed, that'll probably be a fill-in video when I can't think of another video to do. So don't expect that one anytime soon. Now, I have another TRS-80 Model 4P video where I've done an upgrade. That one will probably come out sooner, because I didn't do a live stream on it, yet I went through the trouble of doing an upgrade. So you'll probably see that one before the shortened recapping video. So you can kind of keep an eye out for that. Now, I don't know when I'll get that one out, because when I get the channel surprise episode out, well, why am I being a secret? If you follow RetroTech Chris on Twitter, you know that he sent me something. And I went ahead and admitted on that tweet that, yeah, it's coming up in December. But yes, I have an upgrade for December for one of the computers that you've seen on the channel before. And yes, it's a PC. But that's one of the videos I want to work on that to get it out for December. I would like, okay, that one I think will probably be later in the month of December, because I did some attempted upgrades on the Emerson 8000 EC. I have footage from that And I think I'm going to try to get that one out early December, since I think I'd mentioned earlier in the year that, hey, I've got this video coming several times. Then I just didn't have time to do that. So I think I'll have that one early December. The upgrade that the thing Retrotech Chris sent me to upgrade another PC, probably I'd like mid-December maybe. And I think there's like one other. Oh yeah, yep. I had a video I was trying to get out on October 31st. That didn't happen. I ran into some production problems. I'm going to keep a lid on that one. So that one will be a random surprise. It's not going to wait till October 31st next year. I don't know. Maybe Marcintosh, I might just kind of throw it out there. I don't know. It might be another fill-in video that just randomly appears. I mean, it is kind of germane to Marcintosh, so who knows? We'll see. But actually, I do have footage for that. I just have to, I'll have to work through the production problems. But I kind of, since I missed Halloween, I've pushed that video to non-determined release date along with the TRS-80 Model 4P recapping. So those two are kind of not determined. The other TRS-80 upgrade, I'd like to get that one out this month. Channel Surprise probably also needs to come out this month or early December at the latest, because I want to have that out before I do the video with the upgrade from Chris. So yeah, I have a couple scripted videos to work on. I am, though, going to try to get a live stream a little more often. So that being said, I am probably going to live stream next Thursday. I've got enough things to work on that I can find something that will work in an after Macyak live stream. Maybe I'll finish up the Atari then, because I would like to get that off the workbench. The Atari 400 is setting in a inconvenient spot right now, so I don't know. I might do the Atari 400 next week. So stay tuned for that live stream after Macyak next week. Now, if I've got my calendar dates correct, the following Thursday is Thanksgiving. I will probably not stream on Thanksgiving because I don't know that I'll be available to stream on Thanksgiving. However, I would like to stream that week. So Thanksgiving week, I may do a Monday stream, and I might be able to start Monday afternoon instead of Monday night. So I might have a little longer of a stream. Nothing record breaking, but might be able to cover some of the more inconvenient time zones. So we'll see how that works out. I definitely have some things that I could work on in a slightly longer live stream. So I think that will be probably the live stream schedule for this month, because I think then by the time we get to the Thursday after Thanksgiving, I believe it's December. So hopefully live stream next week after Macyak. Following week, it'll probably be Monday. I think Mondays usually work well for me if I have the time off to do a longer live stream. And then when we get into December, I will check to see if that first Thursday in December is a Macyak day. And even if it is, I believe I have a few PC-related items that I can work on live streams. So I might even be able to have some December live streams. So yeah, I think that's what you got to look forward to. I'm So scripted videos, I'm trying to produce. Wish I could get them out faster, but this is a one-man operation. So you've noticed that you never see anyone walking behind me. It's because, yeah, it's just me. So when there's housework that's got to be done, it keeps me from doing things like this. So hopefully we'll get some scripted videos out, live streams more often, at least until it gets too cold to be in the basement. And then I actually have, for when it kind of gets to the point where it's a little too uncomfortable to work in the basement, I've got a project that I'm going to work on that I can actually do upstairs. So you can look forward to that. Because I'm saving it for when I don't feel like freezing in the basement. Because yes, I do have a little heater that I can run down here, but it only works to a point. I eventually do get to the point where I'm still cold, even though I have heat right beside me. So I have plans for this winter for things to live stream when I don't feel like chilling out in the basement. Let me just check the chat one more time. Dave, glad you like the Claris the Cowdog sticker. I don't know if the place where I got them has any more, but I believe you can get those at 8-Bit Tees. I think 8-Bit Tees has Claris stickers. Yeah, these LC power supplies are like easy to recap. I believe I'm trying to think of the brand. I think I think it's the TDK ones that yeah, I think that's the TDK ones I prefer, because the way they're put together, they're a little easier to recap than the Aztec ones. But yeah, I've got an Aztec LC power supply right beside me that I need to create a new wiring harness for. So that reminds me, I need to order wire to do that. But yep, where was I going with that? Oh, chat, yes. Jeremy, I'll check that auction out. In fact, I might already be watching. 7.6 runs great on your 605 Quadra. I believe the 605 Quadra is the same as the LC475, if I remember my Performa Quadra LC conversion chart correctly. 761, yeah, if you're going to run 7.6, you want 761. Son called you last week, had a Mac SE, doesn't power up. That's all he knows about it. Probably gonna need to crack that SE open and take a look at it. It hopefully is maybe not the battery is exploded in it. Depending on what SE it is. I know the ones with the soldered on battery are a little less prone to exploding than the ones that go in the battery holder. But of course, that the Varta that's soldered is not a guarantee that it won't have exploded. Just like the one in the socket might be not leaky, because I have got a number of computers that were maybe not quite that old, but the batteries were still there and somehow hadn't exploded. Including one that I think was a Maxwell that somehow had not destroyed the computer. Now, just watch. The next one I get that was a sealed box, and the seller is like, I'm not going to open this thing up, but it was cheap enough, I'm just going to get it, and it'll be a Maxwell that has swollen. I just jinxed myself now. So yeah. Eric, she's translating it now. All right, cool. So with that, Eric, you can, I think you can get my email address from the YouTube, or you can reach out on Twitter, and I can give you my email address that way, because it is 11:45. So I think it's about time to call this stream to an end. So I will going to get my finger onto the correct button here. I'd like to thank everyone for joining me tonight. Wish I could have been able to play exciting baseball to see if it's exciting, but I will need to order some parts for this computer. So I would like to see if I can get this power supply running, but it looks like Jeremy's got a power supply I can use to replace it. Actually, it'll be nice. I just realized it'll make the computer a little lighter probably. So since I have to order some components, I'll probably order those caps anyways, just because I'm curious. So yeah, with that, I'll get some parts on order for some of these projects so I can close a couple of them out. Then maybe someday soon I will be able to play exciting baseball. And we will see if it really is exciting or if that's just marketing fluff. I don't know. And we'll see. Anyways, thank you for joining. Don't forget to smash that like button. Subscribe if you're not already, because you don't want to depend on the YouTube algorithm to show you that I've got a new video. If you subscribe and ring that bell notification, then you'll have a better chance of seeing my next video or live stream. I can't guarantee that notifications are working, but I do know that if you don't ring the bell, then they definitely won't work. And with that, take care, and I hope to see you next time. Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or live stream. And as always, thank you for all your support. I hope to see you next time. And until then, take care.